Hey everybody, this is Donnaleigh, and we'll be talking today about yes/no spreads in the Lenormand. I'll be using a beautiful deck by Jira Babylon Root Weaver called the Vintage Lenormand. Really amazing deck, almost sold out. So if you're interested in these images and you want one for yourself, make sure you act fast. I'll add this link in my blog. I'll put it below the video here on YouTube so that if you feel you need to get it, you can get it fast and you don't want to miss it. It comes in a cute little pouch like this that she made. Well worth the money. So let's talk about yes/no spreads. I have made a previous video already on yes/no spreads, but it was a different technique. That one used, you take 3 cards and you count how many good cards versus how many bad cards. This is going to be a little bit different. It's a little bit more advanced, but it also gives you more information. So I find actually this one is more reliable. And sometimes when you think you're getting the answer you want, like in a yes or no, this will also tell you if there's any warnings, and you'll see that in these examples. But let's give this a try. I think you should consider creating a little journal for your Lenormand readings. So if you're doing predictive readings like yes, no, what you will want to do is write down your answers, date it, and put it in a little journal. I have lots of little journals that I keep wherever I sit, and I write down what I think the prediction will be. I'll date it, and so then when it comes to be, I can go back and I'll look at it. The thing about this technique is that you can write down details about the yes or no that can add to the situation. So you can put that in your journal and later go back and say, oh, I knew I said that, and oh my god, I forgot I said that, and that's true too. So you'll learn a lot through this going back. So let's give this a try. This is a lot of fun. It's a great way to learn, and I'll give you lots of examples so you can walk through the cards. One little tip is while I'm going through these, I'll ask the question. I'll put down 3 cards. Here's what I would suggest you. Get your trigger figure ready. Put it on your pause button. So when I put the 3 cards down, take a look at what's there. See if you can come up with an answer. See if you can come up with details. Then compare them to what I get. If you get something different, it doesn't mean that yours are wrong. And I would be really happy to talk with people about what you see in the cards. But it just can give you some kind of comparison, what I get versus you get. And you'll see if it's a yes or a no, and I'm pretty sure that we'll come up with similar yes/no answers in the Lenormand. It's pretty straightforward, but the details may vary a little bit. So here we go. Let's try this together in a little tutorial. So here's what we're going to do. Let me give you the basics first, and then I'm going to give you some ways to make the cards easier to understand and read. Okay, so what you want to do is you're going to be looking at the last card is kind of your definer, but the question or the way you ask it may have some impact on what you get. So let's give several examples to really see and sample this. So the first yes/no question is, will I get the job? It's a common question we get from people. So you would throw 3 cards down, and you will want to be familiar with how to do 3 card spreads in Lenormand. So we have the Tower, the Key, and the Sun. The last card is going to really define what you get, and the Sun is a great card, so we're already leaning toward yes, but let's see what the other cards have to say. Tower has to do with job, enterprise, business. Key has to do with, this is like it, this is a big one, and the Sun has to do with yes, these 2 will happen. Okay, so pay attention to the right card. Let's do another question. Will we get married? Another question people ask quite often. So you're going to pull down 3 cards. And here we go. We've got Mice, Lady, Heart. So this is a really interesting spread because we've got something negative at the beginning or something taken away, but it ends in a good outcome. So we have to really take a good look at this. So something is being taken away from what the lady perhaps being taken away, but it ends in love. So this, because it ends in this, you may have a yes to it, but because you have this, it may end up not being a good thing. So this could be one of those things where it's a relationship that may end up being long-term, but may be taking away from something. It also may be a relationship that perhaps is not in her best interest, but she still follows through with it. That happens quite often. So it may be that, yes, she may get married. Later on, we may see more of this manifest as it starts to deteriorate and more starts to happen. But because this is here, it looks like it may actually head in that direction. Doesn't always mean a happy ending, but they don't always live happily ever after. Another question, will I have children? Cross, garden, road. Okay, so the road means a split, kind of a choice, one way or another. And the garden, it has to do with community and lots of people. Cross has to do with burdens, something that's really hard. So this question is probably being asked for somebody that's been trying a long time to have children. It's been kind of like a burden, a cross on their shoulder. It's been hard. It also can be an ending of something. This is the last card. It's also, you put a cross in the grave. The garden has to do with community. So the burden, part of this answer getting to this, the bridge between it is the garden. Road means splitting, kind of like the road less traveled. Splitting, take another direction. A choice. So I would say if you ask if this person will have children, they'll have a choice, but it will be related to the community. So for this, I would actually look for something like this person may be having it in a different than conventional way. It may be something either through a different partner, through a surrogate partner, through adoption, something that's related to the garden, or people that it may be outside of the actual relationship she's in now, the marriage she's in now. It may have something to do with referring to the community for help, such as in an adoption. So this shows that long trouble. Let's ask another one. Will he come back? All right, will he come back? Very popular question. Okay, so here's the confusion she's in now. The clouds, the dog has to do with loyalty, and ring has to do with commitment and promise. So if we look again at that last card, there's our final outcome, our answer, which defines these two. So the friend is confused right now. So whoever is loyal to her is going through something kind of like that, figuring out who they are stage. Is this the right person before I make the commitment? So it does show the trouble that they're going through right now, but ultimately the commitment is made. This can even be marriage, actually. So that would be yes, he would come back. All right, so let's ask another one. Will we be able to buy the house this year? Okay, so somebody's looking at property. Okay, so here are our cards. We have clover, fish, and child. Again, we're going to look at the last card as our definer. Clover has to do with like luck or abundance or taking a gamble, but it's a small one. It's something small, as is a child. The child is the beginning, but it's also something small. Fish has to do with money, abundance, and what you have. So this may mean like you have a little bit of money, and the child is about to start too. So you have a little bit of money, and because you have a little bit of money, if you want to, you can get a little house. So these two cards mentioning small, it looks like if this person wanted to, they're ready and they could buy a house. May not be able to get a huge house, maybe a starter home, but these cards say yes, they could do it. They just may not be able to get the triple decker fancy one with the cathedral ceilings and all kinds of fancy foyers and stuff. But looks like they could if they wanted to. Next question. This will be a pet question. Should we adopt the dog? All right, so someone is looking to add to their family in terms of a pet. They go to the shelter, they don't know if this is the right one for them. And what we have is letter, gentleman, and fox. Now this is really interesting because it looks like our final question may be this one I would probably even want to do one more time or get some clarification on the last card, because this is our sneaky card. And messages from a man created something sneaky. So I would say, and this could also mean like the letter from the gentleman, this could be someone, the gentleman may be someone at the shelter, but I even think this may be something with this animal, because this is also an animal, looks almost like a dog. The messages that this dog got before may have resulted in what he is. So it may be a dog that is cunning and smart, but also may be difficult to train because it may be smarter than you in how it gets around things. So it may show that it'll take some work to do it. Let's pull another defining card and see what we get. Ship, movement. Rider, more movement. So, and clouds. So what I would think with this particular one is you might want to consider getting a dog, but maybe move to a different one, travel to a different one. Rider is about considering those messages, move on. And clouds may be like there may be some confusion. Now this isn't a definite no. This may be that there may be a lot of difficulty in it, but it just means be prepared for the job. So the person does have a choice, but if they ask if they're going to adopt this dog, they just need to be aware that whatever this dog's past was has created some sort of baggage in it, and the dog really has learned how to maneuver through its life. It was kind of like survival through the messages it got through this person, and as a result it's going to be kind of a difficult road, and there'll be a lot of confusion, and the clouds are not easy to get through. So just if you do, just be prepared for quite the trip. What kind of trip? A cloudy trip. And rider also means impulsive, so this dog may be fast-moving, impulsive. Ship is also about movement. This may be a dog that's really on the move and goes, and you want to make sure that you're the type that likes to move. If you're a sedentary type person looking for just a lap dog, this may not work out. But if you're looking for a dog that really moves, it might be better. So also you may want to consider the qualities that you see in a fox, and maybe the qualities that you see in this dog. Maybe even this dog may have these physical characteristics. Lenormand can be literal like that. So if we answer this as a yes-no question, I would say, you know, you could, but be prepared for the ride. It's going to be a lot of work because this dog may have some messages that have been told. You have to undo, shift, and try to change those messages because the dog may be confused by what it has already learned. And as a result, you'll be confused by the dog. But it also could be, if these are not the qualities that you want, you may want to choose no. So that kind of lets them know what they're in for. So now I'm going to give you a different type of question that is going to really impact how your answer comes out. So I really want you to pay close attention to what you're asking because it may influence how you interpret your question. For example, will I lose hours at work? So if this person is full-time and the concern there are cutbacks being made and they may lose some hours, they don't know if they'll be able to pay for their expenses if that happens. If you get, say, something bright like the sun, that may be like, yes, it may happen, or it may mean, no, you'll be okay because things are bright. You want to define how you want to answer. If you get a cloud or something negative over here, you won't know whether that's a yes or a no. Unless you clearly define in your head. So what I would do is I would turn the question around so you don't get some kind of like double negative happening in your answer and then you get confused. So turn it so that it can be a clear yes, no. So instead of will I lose the hours, will I be able to stay in the hours I want? So that's what the person wants. So let's just turn the question around so it says something. So if we got something in this final, if it's a good card, we know it's what we want. If it's a bad card, we know it's like not what we want, the way we want it to end up. But if we ask it the other way, we won't know whether a cloudy card means yes or no. Does that make sense? So let's see if you can keep the hours. Oh, isn't this beautiful? So loyalty, something that stays with you. There's a commitment, and there's the house, something close to home. And if you're worried about your expenses, you'll be okay. So this person, this is a yes. You will be able to keep the hours you have. Okay, so that is much clearer. Here's another one. Is he cheating on me? Now, if you really love the guy and you'd be disappointed, and you got a bad card at the end, you'd know where it's headed. But suppose you're in a really crappy relationship, and it may be the last thing you need to get out, and it's like, ha, exposure. What I would do is really make sure you know how you feel about it. So another way, I would probably change it so you don't get the double negative thing happening here. I would shift the question and say, is he being loyal to me? Because then you would know if there was a yes or a no, what it was headed toward. Okay? Whip. anchor. So what we got here is, it almost looks like the bouquet is gifts and talents and beauty. This looks great. Whip is about, it can be criticism, but it also is about sexuality. And anchor is like staying put right where they are. So this person looks like there could be like a sexual attraction that's really beautiful, and it could be that they've set port with you. These are great cards. If this had ended at the end, we might have questions whether there was criticism about staying, but because it's in the middle and it ends with the anchor, settle down, picture an anchor down into the water. That's where you want to stay. So this person is being loyal to her, so there's no problems here. So you can see where there may have been more confusion if you had asked it the other way and you got this. It may not be so clear is what it means. Okay, one more question. Will I get laid off? And this is like the other question we asked about the hours. So if you feel a certain way and you get a good or bad card, it's going to match how you're going to feel about it. So I would say if you want to get laid off, this would be the question. Say you're looking for less hours or you're looking for something different, you hate the job, you can ask it this way. But instead what I would do is, suppose you really need the job, that you want to keep it, you can just keep it as the cards are and change the question to, will they retain me in this job? Will I be able to stay? Ship, clouds, rider. Ooh, okay, so this looks like there's some kind of movement for this person. And it looks like movement, travel, and clouds is confusion and not being sure. And because the rider is the last one, messages of movement, it may be to something new. It looks like this person may have like a move, like a lateral move, or stay in the company but change. Maybe change into a new position, maybe be demoted, maybe a change of hours, that sort of thing. You want to know what's going to shift and move, so you can now divvy down your questions to what's moving. So if you want to ask, will I have the same number of hours? Let's take a look at that. Will I have an equal number of hours? So now we're going to break this down. Will I have the same number of hours I have now? Child, garden, clover. Starts with people, a little bit of luck. I'm going to even clarify that because I'm seeing this as yes. Okay, and this seems to agree, like talking. So it looks like this is going to be the same amount of hours, but we've got people and something new here again. These seem to point to the same situation the other did, that there may be something new because the child is like the start of something. Reminds me a little of like the Fool card or something. But in the garden is like in the same community. Clover's a little bit of luck, talking. So it looks like there's some kind of negotiations that happen. Let's find out more about this job because we're curious about what we might want to know about it. Let's ask us a yes/no question. Will I like the change? Sun, tree, snake. Okay, so here's where we go with this. Sun talks about like enjoyment, happy, that's great. Tree means it's long and stable. Snake is a bad guy, a troublemaker. Something's going to happen. So what this speaks about is this is like another person there. So the job itself looks like it's going to be great, but there's a monkey wrench. There's a new person there. There's something that's going to happen in terms of somebody they don't like. It could be a boss, it could be a friend, and you can keep asking yes/no questions about what this may be, and keep divvying the question down. Let's just do one more and talk about the snake. Let's ask a yes/no question. Will this person be let's say we'll compare between boss and coworker. Let's do this. Describe my boss. Will I like my boss? Will I like my coworkers? So the top one is a yes/no for a boss. Will I like them? Bottom one is a yes/no for, say, someone I'm working with. We're looking at that snake now again. Here's the boss. Ooh, here's the other person. Okay, looks like there's going to be a lot of discord in this new department. Because boss, it's funny because we got the boss card, which is the bear, the person that's in charge, the manager. And mice is something that's taken away, something that eats away, something this person isn't either fully qualified or they take away from this person's enjoyment of where they are. And the scythe is another thing, danger, cutting, not liking, pain. So this boss is going to be very sharp, critical, may have some kind of like heavy-handed criticisms. The people that you work with, it looks like mountain is a long way up. Fox is cutthroat. People are cunning and trying to work against each other, but also very smart and crafty. So there may be some real smart things going on. Lily talks about pureness and truth, honesty, and it's funny because with all this other stuff going on, the first thing that comes to mind here is that the job itself she's asking about, she may like, so she may like what she's doing. And with this Lily card, it's like yes, but when you look at these other two cards that talk about the people that are there, so she may like where she is, the people themselves will be hard. It may be that because the Lily is next to the Fox, it adds a little bit more purity to this, so it's a long way up. I may see this as more competitive because if this was a bad card, say this card landed like this, you've got a bad Fox now. This is danger. This is like watch your back. Someone's going to stab you in the back. But when you see this, it's a little bit more like everybody's working their best to be crafty, cunning, get ahead of the pack, manipulating the situation so they get the best out of what they need, out of the time they have. And then the Lily here talks about purity too. So because this card kind of modifies this one, I would say, you know what? It's probably going to be that it may be cutthroat and competitive, but it's not because of you. It's not because they don't like you. It's just because everybody's working hard to keep their job and do their best. The mountain shows it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a long way up. So if you ask if you're going to like a coworker, probably it's going to not be, but it's going to be basically that everybody is well-intended and it's not about you. It's about people working hard. Up here, this boss, troublesome personality. This one I would say outright, you're not going to like them. Be careful. You're going to have to do what they want because it's your boss. And another question you could ask is, what can I do to satisfy my boss? That's not so much a yes-no question, but you could just as easily pull out cards and start asking questions about that. How can I make the relationship between my boss better? Letter, about messages, things you put in writing. Road, two different ways and choices, and fish. It's almost like you have to give your boss different choices about money and finances that they may not be aware. You're going to be providing something that provide alternate avenues, alternate choices, more opportunities for money. This is all about money with the boss. That's what you want to focus on to make that boss happy. Give them the messages, be clear, put it in writing, choose as many ways as you can. Give them choices, make them feel that this is probably the boss. You don't want to tell them what to do. You want to give the boss the choice. Do you want to do this or this? These are your choices. This is what the outcome would probably be, and let your boss feel like they're in charge. And those are just some ways you can do 3-card readings for yes, no, and then you can break it down to clarify. I hope this was helpful to you. Enjoy your Lenormand deck.